Carter was just trying to do his job. He wasn't looking for trouble. And he definitely wasn't looking to get bonded to an alien woman. But trouble had a strange way of finding him, especially on this ship. He was a young human engineer, working on the Stellar Harmony, a research ship shared by multiple species. Most of the crew were Euralians, tall, graceful beings with smooth skin that shimmered in soft colors. Carter always thought they looked like walking waves. He had only been on board for 3 weeks and was still trying to understand their customs. One afternoon, he was called down to the artifact vault. It was a large room filled with old devices, relics, and objects gathered from different planets. Some were marked dangerous, others unknown. Carter's job was to fix a broken scanner attached to one of the relics. He approached the item, a small, black stone with glowing patterns, and adjusted the cables. The scanner beeped twice, then went silent. Weird, he muttered. The stone gave off a faint hum. Carter, curious, reached out and lightly tapped the surface to see if it was heating up. That's when everything changed. A bright pulse of light shot from the stone and hit the ceiling. Alarms didn't go off, but something heavy filled the air. The glow faded. Carter stepped back, blinking in surprise. Okay, that was strange. Minutes later, he returned to the main deck. The hallway was quiet until he saw Nara walking toward him. She was one of the Yerlian crew. Most of the time, she ignored humans. Today, her pace slowed as she approached. Her eyes locked on him. Something shimmered on the side of her neck. A glowing mark, shaped like a swirl, had appeared there. Nara's single quotes S expression was sharp. She stopped just a few feet away. Her eyes narrowed. Without saying a word, she turned and walked away quickly. Carter stood frozen. What just happened? He looked around. A few Euralians nearby had seen it. One of them, an older male, looked at him in shock. You touched the relic? He asked quietly. Yeah, Carter said. I was fixing the scanner. It lit up. Why? The Yerlian sighed. That stone is a bonding relic. It's from our ancient traditions. It carries the code for the mating mark. Carter blinked. The what? Mating mark. The alien repeated. Only a match can activate it. The relic does not respond to just anyone. No. Carter shook his head. I didn't mean anything. I just touched it. I didn't even know what it was. Intent doesn't matter. The Yerlian replied. You've marked her. The bond has started. Later, in the meeting room, the ship's commander, a half-human, half-Yerlian officer, sat Carter down. Do you realize what you've done? She asked. Her voice calm but firm. I swear it was an accident, Carter said. I didn't mean to bond with anyone. That relic is sensitive, the commander said. It's used only during sacred bonding ceremonies. It hasn't activated in over a century. But today, you touched it, and now Nara's mark has appeared. Carter rubbed his forehead. Can we undo it? No one knows how, she said. Yerlian tradition says the bond is meant to grow. Once triggered, it cannot be reversed easily. It connects the minds, the emotions. It is not just symbolic. So, what happens now? He asked quietly. The commander leaned forward. Nara has asked for time to think, but the bond affects both sides. Soon, you might feel her presence more clearly. Dreams, emotions, even instincts. Be prepared. This can't be happening, Carter whispered. For the next day, Carter stayed in his room. He read up on Yerlian bonds. Most stories were romantic, even poetic. But he didn't feel anything romantic. He barely knew Nara. They had maybe spoken twice before. Now he was bound to her. The door to his room buzzed. He stood up and opened it. Nara stood there. Her arms were crossed, and her expression was unreadable. She stepped in without a word and looked at him. The silence stretched. Do you understand what you've done? She asked. No, Carter said honestly. But I didn't mean to do it. Meaning doesn't matter, she said. The bond is real. And now I feel you, like a sound in the back of my mind. I'm sorry, he said. Can we break it? Nara looked away. I don't know. But until we find out, you're stuck with me. She turned and left, leaving Carter standing in the doorway. Confused and overwhelmed, he looked down at his hand. the one that touched the stone. It looked normal, but nothing about his life was normal now. Carter couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes of Nara's face, not just her expression, but her eyes, cold and questioning. In the dreams, she didn't speak, but he felt her emotions like quiet waves in his mind. Confusion, anger, something deeper too, something he couldn't name. He sat up in his bunk and rubbed his face. "This is crazy," he whispered. The ship's quiet hum surrounded him. Outside his room, the corridors were empty. He opened his tablet and searched more about the Yarelian mating mark. Most of the files were old or in their native language. But one thing was clear. Once the bond was active, both sides started to connect, mentally and emotionally, even at a distance. Carter closed the tablet and sighed. He didn't want to be part of some ancient ritual. He just wanted to do his job, get his paycheck, and go home. But now, he was bonded to Nara, a woman who didn't even like him. The next morning, Commander Ellen called him to the observation deck. The large windows showed the stars moving slowly past. Nara was already there, standing near the railing with her arms crossed. Her glowing mark was still visible, soft and pulsing. "We need to talk," Ellen said. "We can't ignore this." Carter nodded slowly. "I understand. Nara has agreed to work with you." Ellen continued, "The bond can't be hidden forever, and the longer you fight it, the more unstable it becomes." Nara finally spoke. "We will train. That's all. No talk about feelings, no strange dreams, just training." "Training?" Carter asked. "To control the bond," she said. "Yarelian pairs must learn balance, otherwise one mind can overwhelm the other." "What happens if we don't?" he asked. Nara looked at him, serious. "We lose control. We act on instincts, not reason." "Great," Carter muttered. "So we might turn into crazy mind-linked zombies." "Not zombies," Nara said. "Just confused and dangerous." Commander Ellen nodded. "You'll start tomorrow in the comm room. It's designed for mental focus." After they left, Carter found himself thinking about Nara more. Not just her looks, though she was striking, with deep-colored eyes and graceful movements, but her quiet strength. She didn't want this bond either, but she wasn't running from it. She was facing it head-on. The next day, they entered the comm room together. The space was round, filled with soft light and low sounds meant to help focus. They sat across from each other on mats. "Close your eyes," Nara said. "Breathe slowly. Let the connection flow. But don't force it." Carter obeyed. At first, he felt nothing, just quiet. Then, slowly, a light pressure touched his thoughts. It wasn't speech. It wasn't a voice. Just presence, like someone watching from behind a curtain. He opened his eyes quickly. Nara frowned. "Don't resist." "Sorry," he said. "It's weird. It will get weirder," she replied. They tried again and again. Hours passed. Slowly, the connection grew clearer. They began to feel each other's mood. Carter felt a sharp memory flash, a moment when Nara stood before her elders, proud but nervous. He blinked and looked at her. "Was that your memory?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes. Sometimes they leak through. The mark is linking us. I felt how you were scared, but you stood tall. It was my bonding trial," she said. "I passed. But I never thought the mark would activate. Not like this." They both sat in silence. "What about your people?" he asked gently. "Will they be okay with this?" Nara's lips tightened. "No. They will think I've lost control." Bonded to a human, it is not common, not accepted. Carter looked down. "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry," she said quietly. "Just don't run." That evening, Carter returned to his room for the first time. He didn't feel alone, even when Nara wasn't near. The bond was there, like a quiet whisper. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing. He couldn't pretend it was just an accident anymore. Each morning started the same now. Carter and Nara would sit across from each other in the comm room, eyes closed, hands resting on their knees, breathing slow and steady. Carter still found it strange, but he couldn't deny that something was changing. He could sense Nara more clearly now. Not her words, but her feelings. Soft ripples of emotion touched his thoughts, sometimes like a breeze, other times like a wave. Nera was quiet, focused, and serious during each session. She didn't speak unless needed, but her presence had become familiar, almost comforting. On the 5th day of training, Carter felt a sudden wave of sadness during the meditation. It hit him like a drop of cold water. He opened his eyes. Nera, are you okay? She didn't open her eyes. Focus. Do not let emotion control you. I felt something, he said. Something heavy. Was that you? She took a deep breath and opened her eyes slowly. I had a memory. Nothing more. You were crying in it, Carter said softly. Why? Nera stood up. This is not part of training. He stood too. But I felt it. You don't have to explain. But I'm not your enemy. Nera looked at him for a long moment. Her face was unreadable. Then she finally said, I was bonded once before. Years ago. The mark never appeared. The match failed. So you've done this before? No, she replied. Not like this. The bond mark didn't respond. We thought it was because we weren't truly matched. I believed the mark would never appear for me. Now, with you, a human, it makes no sense. Maybe the relic knows something we don't, Carter said with a small shrug. Or maybe it's broken, she replied. Despite her words, Nera didn't pull away. The next few sessions went deeper. Carter began sharing memories too, images of Earth, his family. The day he joined the space program, Nera didn't judge or comment, but he could feel her interest. Once, she asked about music, and he played a soft tune from his old playlist. This is calming, she said, eyes closed. It's a song my mom used to play when I couldn't sleep. Nera nodded slowly. I like it. Outside the comm room, the ship kept moving through space. The other crew members still whispered when Carter passed by. Some looked curious, others nervous. But no one stopped him. The commander had made it clear. The bond was real, and it must be respected. One evening, during a ship-wide rest period, Carter found himself walking near the observation deck. To his surprise, Nera was already there. She stood near the glass, looking out at the stars. Couldn't sleep either? He asked. She shook her head. The bond is louder at night. Emotions become harder to hide. Carter joined her at the glass. What are you feeling right now? She turned to him slowly. I feel uncertain, but not afraid. Carter smiled a little. That's progress. She didn't smile back, but her eyes softened. Do you feel it too? Yes, he said honestly. It's like standing near a warm fire. I don't always understand it, but it's there. Nera looked back at the stars. In my people's stories, the bomb was once a tool for survival. Pairs who shared the mark could fight better, think together. They became leaders, explorers, protectors, and now, Carter asked, now it's tradition, ceremony. But maybe it can still mean more. Carter was about to reply when a low alarm echoed across the deck. A voice spoke through the comms. All crew, report to stations. A known ship approaching. Nera's eyes narrowed. We're not expecting visitors. They rushed to the command deck. On the screen, a small ship was approaching fast. No communication, no signal. It looked old but dangerous, a pirate scout. They're scanning us, one officer said. No reply to hails. Shields up, Commander Ellen ordered. Prepare to move to alert status. Carter felt something shift. A sudden jolt of tension came through the bond. He looked at Nera. Her eyes were sharp. She was already moving toward the defense console. Come, she said quickly. We might need to work together. Carter nodded, heart racing. Whatever. This bond was, it had just gone from personal to critical. Carter had never sat at a defense console before. He was just an engineer. His work involved wires, systems, and repair drones, not weapons. But right now, Nera was pulling him into battle, and he didn't argue. The unknown ship moved closer. It was a small, sharp-looking vessel with dark armor. Pirate symbols were burned into its side. No need to guess who they were. The Stellar Harmony was a peaceful research ship, not built for fights. Its shields were decent, but weapons were minimal. They're locking weapons, a crew. Members shouted. Weapons range in 30 seconds. Nera's voice was calm but quick. Redirect energy from the side engines to the shield grid, and reroute power to emergency point defense turrets. I don't know your system layouts, Carter said, fingers flying across the control panel. Trust the bond, she said. And somehow, he did. As soon as she said it, Carter's hands slowed. Not because he hesitated, but because he suddenly knew which buttons to push. Images and actions flowed through his mind like someone was guiding him. Nera, from the other side of the bond, she wasn't giving exact orders. She was sharing. Instincts. Together, they activated the auto-target systems, moved backup power to the forward hull, and sealed off weak sections of the ship, shields holding at 70%, Nera said. The pirate ship fired first. Bright bolts of plasma hit the shield. The ship shook. Lights dimmed for a moment. Carter grabbed the console to stay steady. Nera didn't flinch. They're testing our defenses, she said. They don't know we've rebalanced the energy. Another round of shots came in. But this time, the turrets fired back. Small, fast rounds zipped through space, scratching the pirate vessel's hull. It wasn't enough to destroy them, but it was enough to surprise them. They're backing off, Commander Ellen said from behind. Good work. Should we chase them? Carter asked. No, Nera said. They're testing more than just our shields. They want to see how far we'll go. The pirate ship turned and jumped into faster-than-light speed. Gone. Carter leaned back inside. His heart still raced. I can't believe that worked. Nera nodded. Her voice softer now. Neither can I. The commander stepped forward. You both move like a team. I've seen trained soldiers work with less connection. The bond is strengthening. Nera didn't answer. Her eyes were still on Carter. Later that night, Carter lay in his bunk, unable to sleep again. But this time, it wasn't anxiety. It was something else. Warmth. Not physical warmth, but emotional. He could feel Nera's calm. She wasn't near, but her presence filled his thoughts, like the bond wrapped around them both. He remembered how she didn't flinch during the attack, how she led with a clear mind, how she trusted him, even when things got scary. She was steady. He closed his eyes. In the dream that followed, he stood on a wide field under the suns. Nera was there too. She wore light armor, her mark glowing bright on her neck. She reached out her hand. He took it. No words were spoken, but the feeling was strong. Acceptance. The next day, Carter found Nera already in the comm room. She looked at him without speaking, then finally said, I saw it too. The field. She nodded. It's a shared dream. Sometimes the bond creates them. What does it mean? It means we're opening to each other. You are no longer just near me. You're with me. Carter sat down beside her. Is that good or bad? Nera's eyes met his. I don't know yet. Their sessions changed after that. Less focus on blocking emotion, more on moving with it. Carter learned to feel her energy, shifts, her focus, even her moods, and she started asking him questions about Earth, about humans, about what he missed most. She listened closely when he talked about his sister and how they used to stargaze together. You speak of family. With warmth, she said once. My family is cold, formal. Love is not shown often. Mine was full of noise. He replied with a smile, but it was honest. As the days passed, their bond grew stronger. It no longer felt like something forced or dangerous. It felt natural, like breathing. But everything changed again when a new message arrived from Yearlian High Command. Commander Ellen brought the news in person. The Council has heard of the activated mark. She said, they're sending a ship. They want to see Nera, and they want to question Carter. Question me, Carter said, confused. Why? Because, Ellen said, they believe this bond may not be acceptable. Nera stood silently, her expression unreadable. Carter looked at her. What does that mean? She finally spoke. It means they might try to take us apart, and this time, Carter didn't feel fear. He felt something stronger. Determination. 2 days later, the Yearlian ship arrived. It was large, painted in silver and blue, with symbols glowing on the side. The moment it entered orbit near the stellar harmony, the atmosphere on board changed. Crew members moved quickly, tension filled the halls, and whispers spread. Carter stood near the docking bay, watching the ship settle into place. He didn't know what to expect, but he felt something strong from the bond, Nara's worry. He turned to see her walking toward him. She wore a clean uniform, her mark glowing slightly. Her posture was straight, but her eyes looked distant. "Are you okay?" Carter asked gently. "No," she said. "They sent someone I didn't expect." "Who?" "My father." Carter blinked. "He's part of the council." "He is the council," she said softly. "He sits on the highest seat." Before Carter could respond, the door opened and 3 Aurelians stepped in. 2 guards in smooth black armor, and between them, a tall, sharp-looking Aurelian with pale markings and a quiet, but strong presence. Nara bowed slightly. "Counselor." "Vayer." The man didn't return the bow. He looked directly at Carter. "You are the human." Carter nodded. "Yes, sir." "Step forward," Vayer said. His voice was calm, but heavy. Carter walked forward, unsure what to say. Vayer studied him closely. "Do you know what you have done?" he asked. "I didn't mean to cause harm." Carter said, "I touched a relic. I didn't know what it would do." "Ignorance does not erase consequence," Vayer said. "You carry our most sacred mark. It should not be active, especially not between species." "Yet it is," Nara said quietly. Vayer looked at her. "You accept this bond. I did not choose it, but I do not deny it. You shame our name." Carter stepped forward. "With respect, sir." "Nara is not at fault," the relic responded. "To me, maybe it was meant to. Maybe your people don't know everything about it." One of the guards moved forward, but Vayer raised a hand. "Let him speak." Carter took a breath. "I'm not claiming I understand your ways, but the bond isn't hurting us. It's helping. We worked together during a pirate attack. We feel each other's thoughts, and we don't fight it. Maybe that means something." Vayer was silent for a long time. Finally, he said, "You will come with us to Aurelia. Both of you. We will test the bond and decide what must be done." "What if we say no?" Carter asked. Nara answered before her father could. "Then they will say the bond is broken by force, and that will hurt both of us." Carter looked at her. "Then we go together." Nara looked surprised for a second, then nodded. The trip to Aurelia took 2 days. The planet was beautiful from orbit, blue forests, glowing oceans, and long mountain ranges. Their shuttle landed in a quiet area far from the cities. It was a sacred place, Nara explained. Only bond-marked pairs were allowed here. They were led into a circular chamber with smooth white walls and floating crystals above. In the center was a platform. "Step onto it," one of the elders said. Carter and Nara walked forward. As soon as they stood on the platform, the crystals began to spin. Light wrapped around them. And suddenly, Carter could feel everything. Nara's emotions, her fears, her strength. It was no longer like a quiet whisper in his head. It was a voice beside his own. Then came the test. The crystals showed shared memories. First, Carter's in fixing machines, missing his sister, joining the stellar harmony. Then Nara's standing before her family, failing her first bond. Walking alone under the Aurelian moons. The council watched everything. Finally, the crystals dimmed. The light faded. Silence filled the room. Then Vayer stepped forward again. "The bond is real," he said. "True, unforced, and strong." Carter exhaled in relief. "But it breaks every rule of our people." Vayer continued, "We have never allowed interspecies marks, not since the wars. This changes everything. Maybe it's time." "To change," Nara said. Vayer turned to her. "You're choosing him?" "Yes," she replied. "I accept the bond." Vayer looked at Carter again. His face showed no emotion. "Then the council will vote," he said. "Until then, you both remain here, under watch," as they were led to a quiet chamber to rest. Carter whispered to Nara, "Are we in trouble?" "Yes," she said. "But for the first time, I don't mind." Carter and Nara spent the next days in the quiet chamber. The room was simple but comfortable. Large windows showed the Aurelian sky, always shifting in soft colors. But despite the calm surroundings, their minds were full of questions and worry. The council's vote was coming soon, They didn't know if it would free them or bind them. More tightly, Carter sat near the window one morning, staring at the strange patterns in the sky. Nara joined him silently, her mark glowing softly in the dim light. "Do you regret this?" he asked. Nara shook her head slowly. "No. The bond is strange and difficult, but it is real. And it is us now." Carter smiled. "I didn't expect to feel that way. None of us plans for fate." She said. They spoke about their lives. His on Earth, her childhood in Aurelia, stories of family, of hopes and fears. For the first time, they were more than just bonded by accident. They were friends. But deep inside, both knew the council's decision could change everything. On the day of the vote, the council gathered in the Great Hall, a vast chamber filled with shining crystals and floating lights. Carter and Nara were led inside, surrounded by serious faces. The leader, Councillor Vare, spoke first. "We have seen the bond. It is strong and pure, but it breaks centuries of law. To accept it means changing our traditions." A younger councillor added, "Humans and Aurelians have history, wars, and mistrust. This bond may threaten peace." Another voice said, "But it may also build bridges, a new path." The debate lasted hours. Carter and Nara sat quietly, holding hands beneath the table. The bond made their feelings clear. Worry, hope, fear, strength, all mixed together. Finally, the vote came. It was close, but in the end, the council ruled. They would allow the bond to remain, under strict supervision. Carter and Nara would represent a new beginning. They would show the galaxy that old rules could be rewritten. Relief washed over them. After the announcement, Nara turned to Carter. "We have a chance to prove ourselves, to be more than tradition." Carter nodded, "and to find our own way." They were released from the chamber, but still watched closely. The bond marked them as different, but now as hopeful. Together, they returned to the stellar harmony. The crew welcomed them with cautious smiles. Life went back to normal. But nothing was the same. Carter and Nara kept training with the bond. It grew stronger, but also deeper. They could sense each other's needs, fears, and joy. The strange dreams came less often, replaced by quiet moments of understanding. One evening, as the ship sailed past a glowing nebula, Carter and Nara stood on the observation deck. "Do you think this bond will last?" Carter asked. Nara looked at the stars. "It must, for both our sakes." Carter smiled softly. "I'm glad it happened, even if by accident." Nara took his hand. "Sometimes, the best things happen that way." As they looked out into space, they knew their journey was just beginning, together. The days after the council's decision passed quickly. Carter and Nara became more than just bonded partners. They became a symbol. Crews from other ships watched them with curiosity, some with hope, others with doubt. But for Carter and Nara, the bond was no longer a mistake. It was a choice. One afternoon, while the stellar harmony drifted near a distant star cluster, the captain called a meeting. The room was filled with officers and crew. Everyone waited quietly. "We have received reports," the captain began, "of other ships facing misunderstandings like ours. Bonds accidentally formed. Tensions rising. It is clear this is not isolated." Carter exchanged a glance with Nara. "We propose to lead a team," the captain continued, "to help these ships understand and manage such bonds, to prevent conflict, to build peace." Nara nodded slowly. "We will teach what we have learned." Carter smiled. "And learn more along the way." The team was small but skilled: engineers, diplomats, and cultural experts. They traveled too many systems, helping crews navigate the complexities of unexpected bonds. The story of Carter and Nara spread, not as a warning, but as a hope for unity. Through it all, the bond between Carter and Nara deepened. It was no longer a source of confusion, but strength. They could sense each other's thoughts, but, more importantly, each other's trust. One evening, far from any known star, Carter and Nara stood on the ship's deck. The sky above was a canvas of sparkling lights. "I never thought I'd say this," Carter said softly, "but I'm glad I touched that relic." Nara smiled, her mark glowing warmly. "Sometimes accidents are the start of something greater." They held hands, feeling the gentle pulse of the bond between them. It was a connection that had begun as a mistake but grew into a promise. A promise to face the unknown together. As the ship moved forward into the endless night, Carter and Nara knew one thing clearly. This was not the end of their story. It was only the beginning.